Welcome into Fantasy Football University, FFU. I am Mr. Bill DeCousis. I'm here with Mr. Tom Lang, coming to you yet again in the off season. Mr. Lang, how you doing?
Oh, it is brutally hot down south. I am happy to be in AC and the day semi to be over.
It's getting there.
Yeah.
Uh, we've talked about it on the show. Mr. Lang resides in lovely South Carolina, which during the month of July, which is where we're at. By the way, we should clarify what day we are recording today, which is July 24th, and it is extremely hot in South Carolina. For Mr. Lang.
It is extremely hot. It is extremely
Um,
hot.
it's pretty hot today in New Jersey, although it's not as hot in South Carolina. So we got a lot to get to today. We'll be concluding our first draft of wide receivers. We got some interesting news and notes to get to, though. So let's quickly jump in. So I got an interesting notification on my phone this morning about a particular quarterback for my favorite football team. So Justin Fields has been carted has been carted off the field. So I just want to point out for the
You
sake
guys
of
can't catch a break.
can't catch anything. I want to point out for the sake of the the sake of the tier list because Garrett Wilson was definitely in there and I was feeling good about it. I've yet to maneuver him because we don't exactly know what the extent of the injury is. I saw something on I think it might have been fantasy pro pro football focus or something about a dislocated toe. If that's what it is, he'll get to the season.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
we'll
but the thing, carted off the field. I
I
mean,
know it. I hate that.
that when you're carted off the field, that it doesn't matter what the whatever it is, it just shows you that this could be worse than what it is potentially. Or it could have just been like, hey, we're going to save our
Cautionary.
asset and we're just going to hold him up until we know exactly what's going on.
Right. The funny thing is, like, just in our history of playing, in high school, I played in college and stuff. Like, if I had like a dislocated toe, I would have been playing the rest of that practice. I
I
would have
mean,
been playing.
shoot, I played a full game with a broken foot.
This is not to take away what he's going through,
No, no, I mean, he's a
but like,
professional athlete. He's making millions of dollars. We were in high school trying to get to that level. We never got there. Unfortunately, here we are talking about our favorite sport as is, and we love everything that we do. So
yes.
I'll take this over. I mean, I would love to get hit or hit somebody, on the football field, but unfortunately, we're not made cut for the NFL apparently. So
Well, the long story short, there is if it is indeed like a toe in, hopefully it's just a dislocated toe because they'll end up playing for the
yeah,
season. So we'll hold off on maneuvering any Garrett Wilson or anything like that.
nah.
Um,
But I will say, I mean, if for some reason it is something, I think, based on the money that they invested on Garrett Wilson and they're throwing money around to like their big star players, they're going to have to bring somebody in. This could be the Kirk Cousins opportunity to put his foot through the door.
if
I know
Justin
you, I
Fields
know
is
you
out,
want Jameis Winston, but Jameis Winston will find his way back to the Saints because, Alvin Kamara will say something about it. Even the defense has already been talking about, bringing him back. It's very clear that Russell Wilson is the starter in New York, and then after that, it's Jackson Dart. So, where
sure.
does well, obviously, Jameis wants to play. He also wants to talk, crawfish and pancakes and chicken wings and make comedies all day long. But overall, he wants to play the sport of football.
I forget where I was reading this today, but apparently, like I think the Saints are going with Tyler Show, like they're rolling with it. So.
Faux
Um,
show.
I mean, Tyler Show, he was the guy who was like, he's like in his mid 20s or something. He played for a long time in college, so maybe he ends up being a lot better than we all think. But the Saints generally are a bad team at this point. It's
Yeah.
basically it's Kamara's the whole team.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to lose games, but be fantasy relevant, go get Jameis
Well,
Winston.
then go get Jameis. But
Yeah.
anyway, we'll hold off on any Jets speculation until they actually confirm what the damage was. So there's a
The
lot of yeah. Go ahead.
the Terry McLaurin saga has continued.
Yeah. Uh, all right. So let's get this. We have yet to move him too, so we'll leave him right where he's at. But
I don't know about that. Actually, I want to talk about him today, where I perceive him
you're
as a
gonna you're
draft.
gonna drop you're gonna drop him then.
I will drop him. Yeah, I have to
Really?
drop him outside the 20. Um,
That's where
and
we have him. We have him at
there's
number
going to
20.
be a
Right.
surprising player that I'm going to bring up the field into the next category we're going to talk about today. But
Uh,
I will say
so
Terry
do you want
McLaurin.
to save that until then? Do
I
you
will
want to
save
say?
that until then, but I will
Yeah.
say Terry McLaurin, he's made it he's very persistent. He wants to get a deal. Uh, I don't know. I mean, it's nothing. The Commanders are not really coming out saying anything like and being talkative about it. Maybe they are behind closed doors, but you got a chattery box wide receiver that's saying, "Pay me." Um, and I'm assuming that he's been presented contracts. But I'm also assuming that he's not accepting those contracts. So I don't know.
Uh,
I mean, it's a very interesting situation for a high profile player who was very, very good last year with the chemistry of the quarterback over there with Daniels. You know,
I'm in.
McLaurin and Daniels is actually a T-shirt. It was McLaurin Daniels 2024 during the election year.
What?
I don't know if you ever saw that shirt. I should
For
definitely. I mean, we should definitely be sponsored by that by Terry McLaurin because he actually has a shirt that says McLaurin Daniels 2024. I'll show you off air.
okay.
It's
Um,
on Terry McLaurin's website, so go there and buy it.
then, well, a couple things about this, and we'll
Tell
get
him
to
that
it.
FFU sent you.
Yeah. Well, moving on. Well, we'll get to more of the fantasy implications of it, but again, I made this point in a prior episode. He's going to be 30 years old by the time the season starts. So why would the Commanders commit to him with a crazy contract like the one he's asking for? It's
Yeah,
just it's not. And also he was extremely touchdown dependent. By the way, though, to McLaurin's credit, if McLaurin doesn't play just remove him from the Commanders. The way we think about the Commanders really changes. Like the whole passing offense, like it
I don't,
just
I don't
really takes
know.
a dip at
I
that
don't
point,
know.
right?
I don't know if it's training camps ooh and ahs for me, but Debo is looking slick.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll
Yeah, we
save that
should.
for we'll save that for wide receiver.
All right, so we should mention that too. So a lot of the news we could talk about again, it like they got training camp starting and all this other stuff going on. And I just want to reiterate the point that every player is in the greatest shape of their life the second they start.
Coach speak,
The players speak. I'm in the greatest
player
shape.
speak, coach
I'm
speak,
I'm in the
media
greatest shape.
speak.
Yeah. By the way, a quarterback throws one interception, immediately everything is failing for the year. It's the worst thing you've ever seen. It's done.
Correct. Like Jackson Dart threw his first pass for a pick six. Congratulations. It's his
Yeah.
first pass in an NFL training camp
You get these,
against.
everybody loves it, the memes that you see on the internet. Well, there go the Giants, or like stuff like that. Or like one receiver will drop a pass, and there it is, bust for the rest of his life because he
Yep.
drops one pass. And like, this is the point. Like, the whole point of practice is so that
You
you
get
can
better.
work at right. You get better. You work out the kinks and whatever's going on in your offense for yourself. You get a rhythm. Make the mistakes in practice so that you don't make them on the field. So like
Correct.
I don't
Correct.
have any that kind of stuff. It's all white noise to me,
Yeah.
especially anything that shows up on
I mean, yeah, and
NFL
obviously
memes.
there's a lot of injuries that like players are being placed on, the NFI list or injury list or something like that. And I mean, I'm not really, like, as we discussed this a couple of weeks ago, we're not really too worried about players, some of these high profile players being put on this list at this point in time. But if they linger week to
Right.
week and they're a questionable tag, that's when we're going to start questioning their ADP, because they might be a risk at taking them now, but a reward taking them down the road.
I wanted to follow up with you with this. Where would you the where I landed was if they could get in a full week of practice at the end of training camp, I don't have a single worry. But if they don't get in anything before the first game, no.
No, I
Like
agree. I know, we're in agreement with that. I do think though the only one that I'm really worried about when it comes down to injuries, even if they get a full week of practice, is hamstring.
sure,
When there's a hamstring injury that happens in the middle of practice or beginning of practice and it lingers, that is a problem, and
right?
that
But
could
if
be a
they're getting
problem
in,
through the season.
but if they're getting in practices Like
Yeah,
if they had
no,
a
no, for
hamstring now
sure.
and then they get practices in later,
For
I'm okay
sure,
with
for
it, you know.
sure. But that could turn into a Puka Nacua situation. That could turn it from last year. Obviously, it paid off when he was on the field, but he was off the field a lot last year.
Right.
Um, the another one that I kind of want to talk about is
Sure.
Joe Mixon was placed on the NFI list.
Sure.
That's big, honestly. I think in that backfield, obviously he is the primary running back. They do have Nick Chubb back there, and they have a plethora of running backs back there as well too. Damian Pierce was also placed on the NFI list as well too. But I think this is a thought for people to think about Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb and he was slow last year when he came back. And it's warranted for what he came across and what he recovered from. But I think what him being through physical, him going through practices, full speed. I think that this is a very, very great opportunity to grab a running back late in drafts that could potentially start games in and off the season because Joe Mixon, as we know, he does miss games. And
Yeah.
I do value both of these players as really, really hot picks. And Chubb, can be a third, fourth, maybe fifth running back on your roster, and he could be a number two running back when he's on the field by himself.
But yeah, at least for a stretch of the season, I'm inclined to agree with you. And also, we should point out that you and I were both lower than consensus on Joe Mixon in general.
Yeah.
And part of the reason was injury concerns, another year older,
Hmm.
et cetera, down the list. I don't have a problem with Chubb as a late round flyer. I mean, you're paying very little to get him
You're
at the
paying
moment.
nothing to get him.
Yeah, and especially considering where Mixon is going, like I think that's a perfectly. I think it's. I couldn't agree with you more. It's
Yeah.
a. It's definitely. By the way, those NFI injuries, like your assessment of it is right too. Like maybe we shouldn't be looking too much into it, but if that lingers, if they're not getting in practices at some point, then
They're
you
going to be
really start
slow to
worrying.
start the season, so
They're
they're
gonna be
not going
slow
to
to
be
start,
playing full speed.
more likely to get injured in the start of the season. That happens all the time.
Yep.
So it's worth
Um,
keeping an eye on that.
I mean, I don't know if you have any more to go over, but I have a few more that I want to kind of just
Bring
discuss.
it up. Yeah, bring it right up, man.
Noah Fanta Claus is no longer on
Such-
is is no longer on
That's your
Mr.
favorite nickname.
Mr. December, who brings you presents under the tree. Noah Santa Claus is no longer a Seahawk. He has found his way off the team, and I think it was a money situation. They just didn't want to pay him. He had I think it was a $7 or $8 million pay year, and based on the young tight end, prospects they have on that roster, it just makes sense for them to move on. Noah Fant right now is visiting with the Bengals. I don't know if they can pay him, but unless he's going to take a league minimum, because the whole offense is getting paid 90% of the salary cap. Um, we'll see. But yeah, I don't see that happening there. But if it does, good luck with Gasicki and Fant there. Because I mean,
That's
Fant is a talent, but
was
he's only a Santa Claus December talent. He will bring Christmas gifts to you on Sunday afternoons or evenings. Um, Ricky Pearsall,
oh, don't
hamstring,
start with me. Yeah.
hamstring. So this is where Billy might win his ice bath
Oh
bet,
God.
because of a lingering potential hamstring. Um, I think though they should. I mean, this early, they're saying he's expected to practice on Sunday, but if it continues where they say hamstring next week, hamstring this week, then I'll be a little worried about Ricky Pearsall going into the season. That
I I just want to I just want to touch on that. That is one of the ones that I saw that I'm like, this could be an injury that we will be talking about farther in. Let's see how he recovers from the hamstring. But we're going to be talking about uh, some other wide receiver, at least one of them today. So
yeah.
we'll get to that because I'm interested to get your opinion. I don't know. The thrust of the ice bath bet that we have is that it's Kittle. It's going to be Kittle. Kittle's going to be the guy. And I don't want to hear her complain about it when Kittle goes for like 1,300 and 12 touchdowns or whatever he's going to
I'm
get.
still
So I
gonna
mean,
win. It's fine. I only need 2 weeks to surpass Kittle's production for the year, so it's fine.
oh man, we get into tight end rankings.
Um,
We'll see how much the rubber
yeah.
meets the road here.
The
Yeah, go
last one
ahead.
I kind of well, last two. So, and then also I think the steal of the draft might be based on training camp right now. Somebody's looking real good, and Christian McCaffrey's looking super healthy right now. He might be the steal of the draft. We've been talking about him value
Sure.
wise. It's fantastic. Um, he's
Absolutely. I mean,
also
he was
in
looking
the
good last
offseason.
year.
In the offseason, he actually has been practicing with Bijan. So that's a really awesome look to see. Two of those caliber players, and Bijan obviously being a young running back, learning from Christian McCaffrey. Bijan's stock is going way up. I real honestly at this point, yes, I think
You just,
it's you can't make a bad decision between Bijan and Saquon right
but
now.
you just won't say it
But
that
I
you
just
see.
won't say it yet.
Okay. You won't say
The
that he's
last
ahead of
one, the last
Saquon.
one. This is a little comic act right here. But
As if the
Kyle
other ones weren't.
Kyle Pitts, foot. He has a foot injury at practice. I think it might have been from his stroll into the stadium. I don't know if anybody saw his slow motion walk into the stadium. He just basically was walking into the stadium like he normally runs routes. Um, so yeah, I just don't know if that means anything, but yeah, just stay away
I,
from Kyle Pitts. We'll talk about him next week.
yeah, I wanted to say something about this. I can't believe I was even remotely gonna mention to you when we talk about tight ends. Like I was like, listen, he's 24 years old still. He was drafted the highest tight end ever drafted. Maybe at some point he has some sort of a comeback. So some sort of a growth that he realizes he's going to have to work hard on his route running. And then I thought, I'm going to fall into that trap again. Now, the only difference is I think this year he's not even being really drafted. Like it's like, 13, how whatever it is,
He's a
12.
streaming tight end right now.
I'm like, I guess you could take a shot, but there's like a multitude of other guys that I would rather get than Kyle Pitts. So what's the Taylor Swift nickname you have for Kyle Pitts?
I don't remember.
Hi, it's me.
Oh, hey, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me.
I'm the
Kyle
problem.
Pitts.
It's me. Right. And if anybody should go check it out. Our favorite play from last year is the pass that Penix threw to Pitts on the way to the end zone, where Pitts literally hands the ball to the defender, and then the defender takes it. I'm pretty sure they take it all the way back. Um,
And unfortunately, for Michael Penix, Pen 15, that was a interception, not a fumble.
right. It counted as an interception.
Yeah,
So
like, come on, like, just get rid of the guy.
was that the same week that you thought Penix might have been a
He
streaming
would have
option?
exploded if it wasn't for that interception.
Just salt on the wound. Oh man. We have a lot of fun with Kyle Pitts. All right, you
Oh,
ready to jump into some the rest of the wide receivers here?
yeah, this is
This,
going to be a fun show.
yes, it is. Yes, it is indeed. Why don't you catch everybody up? I'll bring this up on my end here.
Yeah, so last week we went 1 through 20 players. Obviously, we talked tiers. We are working on the next set of tiers based on, I believe, what the next 20 players we're going to talk, or next
Ish.
30 players ish.
We'll get to we're
We're
gonna
going
get
to
to
cover. We're going to
the end of
cover.
relevance. Right.
Yeah, we're going to cover the end of relevance. Obviously, I mean, there might be some players that we don't cover today that will have value in the season for flex plays.
Sure.
Maybe we'll talk about some like stars that may pop off, but we just can't perceive them as a tier opportunity right now to really go out and draft them. Um, but they could fall in your lap in free agency down the road, or they could be your final pick of the draft, depending on how you draft. We'll obviously talk about draft strategies as we get into draft season, which is August, which is only a week and basically a week away.
That's right.
So we will talk about that, and I really hope that the people that we're in leagues with are listening to this podcast, so they try to destroy our strategy, which would be fun because it makes us think better, makes us better fantasy football players. ourselves when people take our information and use it against us.
Yeah, so just to catch everybody up, we are doing our rankings based on half point PPR among the wide receivers, and Tommy and I already have rankings and tiers on our own, and we thought it'd be very interesting to do our sort of a thought process, let everybody hear our process as to how we can actually compromise, convince each other of things, and get to a point where we create a tier list for the both of us in for our channel. So that's what we're getting to together. So like there are a few names where maybe I kind of compromise with Tommy. There's a few names that Tommy compromised with me, but for the most part, we're actually very close in totality, from a totality standpoint, as to where we got. So, for example, like we've got the first 20 names down. We're all in agreement that these are the top 20 names, and there's only a couple of these names we have like a real issue with. And just kind of looking ahead, we're going to start bringing up some other names here where we are generally in agreement on a lot of these kind of, let's say, later shots. And we're also in agreement on a couple of these guys that are just that we feel are really overrated. So, like, for example, like we just brought up when we did the running backs, Tommy and I were lower in consensus on Mixon, and maybe it turns out we were ended up being right. So we'll point out where we
Yeah.
have those differences from consensus. So,
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, to start this off with an argument,
right,
I
you know how we
want to
like that,
take I want to take out Terry McLaurin and bump him down,
right?
take him off
Because
that number 5 list, and I want to substitute him with one player that we really don't like, but I think that he's going to fall into the top 20 no matter what.
uh, that's
Let me
fine.
and
It's
let me
really.
explain this player. Let me explain this player.
I just want to ask from a logic. I just want to ask you from a logic perspective. So, if McLaurin gets signed to a deal, then immediately he goes back here, right?
Yeah, but he's not there yet. We're talking about right now.
All right, maybe we could just take him off the list entirely because there's going to be
Yeah.
other guys like that. We'll get to them. So yeah, go ahead.
So a player that we really hate this year, because we just don't know what's going to happen based on Sam Darnold coming in there, is JSN.
Ugh, I have him top of the next tier.
Yeah, but I think that we need to. He technically is my 21, and he's
Right.
gonna bump into that 20 tier right there. So I have to feel that we need to, if we're solidifying 20 players within the top 5. I value him with the same mentality and same, camaraderie that he may have with these new quarterback systems, at tier 5.
Yeah, we were really pushing how far we thought JSN was lower than consensus here. I had him top of the next tier, but literally for every reason you just said. Um, I don't want to just put him in there just for the sake of it. I mean, because there's gonna be some other guys here that we talk about that we're all gonna be in agreement on. Let's leave him there for now.
Okay.
Because again, there's some of this stuff that'll clear itself up in the next few weeks. I want to bring up the rest of the guys I have in this tier. I have a feeling some of these guys you'll agree with me. I have Zay Flowers, Chris Godwin, and Devontae Smith in this tier. I know you'll agree. I know Godwin you
Um,
love, Smith you love.
yeah, I can agree with that. I can agree with Zay Flowers. I could definitely agree with Devontae Smith. I mean, I wanted Devontae Smith higher
I know, but
based on last
it's
week's
just
conversation.
mm,
Which I'm fine with settling here.
right.
Chris Godwin, I will settle here as well too because of obviously coming into the season with potential him having a slow start. So yeah, I can agree with that, and I could settle with JSN being in this category. Now, I will say this: JSN is the highest valued ADP person in this sixth tier compared to these other guys that are lower value when it comes down to the only other one is obviously Devonta Smith, that is maybe a couple picks outside of where JSN is, but these rest of these guys are, very, very. I wouldn't say boomer busty. They're just not. They're not the safest
Right.
wide receiver two players,
But I mean, we're
but
at
they
the
can be. But they can be great wide receiver twos based on health and consistency with the quarterback play.
yeah, and first of all, and everybody understands this, that's kind of how rankings are. Obviously, we don't value these guys as much as Moore or Sutton or something. Like obviously there's a bit more consistency that we're getting from those guys, and obviously you could say the same about the guys above them and the guys above them. So, but the point is, like, by the way, to give everybody an idea, if we include McLaurin, the grand total amount of names that we have here on this list right now is 24. So any like this essentially for most leagues covers wide receiver ones and wide receiver twos here. So I'd be happy with Chris Godwin as a wide receiver two, as long as as long as I built out some other stuff like good running backs, etc. So I mean,
So So I will say this though, and I need to add one more player to this tier, and
let's see.
I'm not happy about this guy either, um, because it's not because of lack of production, because he gets tremendous production on this offense, but because of the possibility of him sitting at least at minimum 4 games, and it is
Oof.
basically Rashee Rice.
I okay. I have to tell you, well, we could bring this up now. I have a couple names that I don't know what to do with because of certain situations. Let me pull them all, and you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. So we could leave it. We could leave McLaurin too. Rashee Rice, I don't know what to do with because of what you just said. Jerry Jeudy, because of the quarterback situation, he could be unbelievable or he could be awful because if it's Flacco or not. Jordan Addison, he might get suspended for 6 games. We
Yeah.
don't know that. Debo, it all depends on the McLaurin situation. It really
No,
does. Like
I'm feeling better about Debo right now.
just because you saw one stupid practice. And the
Yep.
Cooper Cup situation, I just, it's just, we'll get to that because he's not at the tier of which we're talking about.
No.
I'm all for. I want to, for the sake of our tier list, I want to leave McLaurin and Rice. I want to leave them out
Okay.
while we go through this because
Well, if we're
we
gonna,
don't know.
to be fair, we'll have to keep McLaurin, Rice, and Addison out.
Right. And I mean, I don't know, it's up to you if you want to do that with Judy too. We'll get to that when we get
No,
there.
I think Judy we have to rank because he is not facing any type of suspension. It's just the quarterback play that's back there. He is the number one wide receiver on that offense. Obviously, there
Right.
are a couple other pass catchers on that offense, but he's the most explosive uh, wide receiver on that offense.
All right, we'll get to him. So if we leave those out, we've got 23 names, depending on if you include McLaurin or not, or whatever, Rice or not, whatever. So we've got basically wide receiver ones and twos. I made this distinction very important in my own rankings because I'm going to bring up 3 names now, 3 names, all of which could finish as a wide receiver, top 5 wide receiver, not just not just throughout the whole season, but any given week, or they can finish as the wide receiver 50. So I'll put the 3 names. We'll see if you agree. I've got Xavier Worthy, Jamison Williams, and Tetro McMillan. Um, it's just I would not feel comfortable having any of them as my wide receiver two because of how volatile it is. But the potential here is gigantic.
Yeah, and another one, and I agree with you on those, but the other one I would add to that list right there is Khalil Shakir. Khalil Shakir,
That's high.
but
Oh,
we've spoken about him with his chemistry
I
with
know.
Josh Allen. He was a low end wide receiver too, week in week out, consistently getting receptions, consistently getting targets. That is value. I will not say that he is a safe wide receiver too. He's a fantastic flex play because you know you're going to get points from there. If you want to play safe. So
I'm gonna
if you're putting
I'm
these
gonna agree with
players,
you. I think.
yeah, if you're putting these players in this category here at category 7, based on ADP at the ranked 40th wide receiver, you have to put Khalil Shakir in this category.
I'm telling you, I think I'm inclined to agree with you. I'm looking at my own rankings of this, and right to that point, it's like the upside there is really good. It really, really is. I'm gonna agree with you. It's funny. I had originally, and you'll see why, but I had him a little bit lower. But like, I agree. It is what it is. I mean, he was the we got to a point, we should just explain it. We got to a point last year with the Bills wheel of fortune of wide receivers things that we got so aggravated, especially at guys named Amari Cooper, that we just said, you know what, unless your name is Khalil Shakir, don't play anybody. We got to that point. No matter what guy had a good game, throw in Mac Hollins and everybody else that they had. So I think the upside is there. Josh Allen's got to throw to somebody, and he's there. He just was their best player. Do you put any stock into this? Keon Coleman is going to be better his second year thing. Like
I mean,
anything at all?
I can't rank him that way yet.
I know, I
I
know.
can't rank him that way yet. I mean, he's not really a draftable player right now. He's going to get drafted late in rounds, but I could see that he may be a free agent play week in week out if needed. Because I mean, it really is just the wheel of fortune when it comes down to wide receivers um at
Yeah,
the Buffalo. But the only one that's consistent is Khalil Shakir.
we'll see about if we like. I just agree. I think it just think he's a value. Really. I like to your point though, I would not feel comfortable with him as a wide receiver too, but
Yeah.
definitely a high value flex. All right, so let me bring up we got to bring up a couple names here that we've got to get them on at some
Yeah, I
point.
mean,
So
I was gonna say this eighth tier. I really feel like we need to strategize this eighth tier as players that are
veterans who maybe will do
no,
well.
no, no. I won't just say veterans, but I will say year two players that are in a new situation, rookie players that could take away from the star wide receivers plays.
Oh, I
I
don't
think
know where you're going with this.
I don't know where I'm going with this one either, but I'm just kidding. But I do think that we need to put this eighth tier as prospects that we believe are flex plays or wide receiver threes that can have tremendous value. And I think that this eighth tier is going to be big.
It might end up being big. I just wanted to point out from the highest ADP that we haven't mentioned yet is this is where I slotted in Evans because I'm like at some point we've got to get him on the board. He's probably not going to be on any of our teams, but we're this is right about where I see
Yeah.
him. Um, now we'll go ahead.
Yeah. And with that being said, there are other players that are questions, right? New
Sure.
system, new quarterback, rookie, situational. We're not talking about obviously Addison Rice and McLaurin. We know where they set. We have to see what
Right.
the contracts or the suspensions fall in line. But where Evans falls, Debo falls for me. Where Debo falls, Olave falls for me.
I have Olave in the absolute in the same spot. You're right.
Where
Debo, if I don't again, we're making a commitment to ranking
let me
Debo now.
let
Go
me
ahead.
finish these numbers, and I want you to counter and tell me why you feel differently. But Debo needs to be in this. Debo needs to be in this category with Evans, Olave, because of the situations they have in front of them. Um, the next one is Calvin Ridley,
Yep, I have him here too. 100%. I'm with you.
George Pickens,
Yep, right with you.
all right, Roma Duze.
Oh, I've got him lower. Anybody else?
The reason is because Keenan Allen is no longer there. He has a connection. Oduze has a connection with Williams. I think there's gonna be more targets going his way, especially in this new system with Ben Johnson. It's going to, and not only that, but I think Caleb Williams is going to take a step up this year. I'm still not high on him draft wise, but I do believe he's going to have a step up year. He's going to still make mistakes, but I think that Johnson is going to find ways to make him be successful, and that's going to obviously play in the fact of Rome Duze. Obviously, DJ Moore is going to get a lot of targets. He's going to have great success, but Rome Duze is a great talent as well too. I think he's going to flourish this year, and he's going to be a really good opportunity as a flex, very very good flex. Potentially fall in line when you have these bye weeks and injuries. He could be a wide receiver too.
Maybe. I have one other name in this
I
tier, and
have
I want to
more.
come
I
back
have
to.
more.
I have Jalen Waddle. This is finally where I decided to put
No,
him
yeah,
here.
no, no, no.
You
He
have
looks
him
like a
lower?
linebacker right now.
You think? Okay.
Yeah.
I have no problem compromising him to lower because
No, I find him in the next tier where this is the I'm scared to draft him tier. Um,
I'm scared tier.
I'm scared to draft him. But but again, it could pay off. Jalen Waddle, he's a speedster as well too. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we'll
I
see.
know.
We'll see.
By the way,
But
this tier is where I had Jerry Judy, assuming Flacco was the quarterback.
yep. This tier also I have Travis Hunter.
Oh man, we're gonna get into some disagreements here.
And there is one other player I do
Who?
have in this tier.
Who do we got? Who?
Are you ready?
Yeah, yeah.
Drum roll.
Who?
Jaden Reed.
Okay, I've got I don't I agree with this. Jaden Reed is going to finish as the number one wide receiver in Green Bay. It is what it is. It might get there in an inconsistent way, but you've seen him. He is extremely talented. There was a lot of nonsense last year with Jordan Love. Was he injured for most of the year? Wasn't he? The groin thing, then a hamstring, then a shoulder. Like it was a whole thing. Plus, you had Josh Jacobs swallowing up every single touchdown in the world. Uh, there's going to be some better regression. I think Love is a great quarterback. I am feeling like Jaden Reed is a value compared to where he is going in the draft. If you remember last year, part of the problem was Jaden Reed was just drafted so high. So
Yeah.
I agree with Jaden Reed being here. Yeah, this is going to be a big tier. Um, there's not a chance on this planet I'm allowing you to put Hunter here. I just don't. There's
Tell me
no
why.
way.
Because you can't.
Yes, I can. I can.
Okay. Go ahead.
What is the reason why we feel like there's huge upside for Tet McMillan? What's the reason why? Remember, these are rookie wide receivers. So why do we feel like there's upside for Tet?
Because he's a great talent on a growing offense.
Ascending, right? But
Ascending offense. I mean, and also you got Adam Thielen that's in his legacy year again, finishing off a full legacy year, which is going to draw attention away from, Tet McMillan. My only my only fear with Tet is he doesn't watch tape, but
yeah, I'm sure they'll watch tape.
I don't know.
I can
I think
I can answer the question for you. The reason is because it's not an awful offense. It's an ascending offense. But the most important thing, he is the clear cut. He's walking in as a rookie as the number one wide receiver.
okay.
Okay. I don't know how much better Jacksonville's offense is than Carolina at this point. Maybe a little bit, I would say. Travis Hunter is not the number one wide receiver. Not. And we don't even know to what extent he's even going to be playing. He's not going to be playing 100%. So on top both of those
That's
things,
not true though. It's more leaning towards him being being a wide receiver.
it's still not a hey, I'm a wide receiver. Like that's my
Listen,
job,
listen. I'm
you
telling you
know.
right now. I'm telling you right now. I mean, that's fine. If we could compromise, we'll put him in tier 9 as a further uncertainty play pick, but based on tier. But he's going to take away from Brian Thomas. Brian
I
Thomas,
have
I know we agreed to put Brian Thomas in 4, but I see Brian Thomas in tier 5, if not tier 6, at a horrific ADP that people are going to draft him. Um, he's going to have great up and down year here and there, but he's not going to have wide receiver one numbers. Hunter's going to cut into it. There's going to be specific plays for Hunter to jump into his target range. Um, it's just it is what it is. It's
I
inevitable.
all right, I have other names then with this then we'll compromise with doing it that. I have other names here that I would have had ahead of them, so I'll put them in the same tier. The Debo thing is interesting, which we'll come back to, but here's the other names that I have here. I have Jacoby all the way up here.
Yep, the
I
law
just
firm Jacoby and Myers.
which is by the way, I know we always called it that, but if you look it up, the Jacoby Myers is an actual law firm.
I know.
I didn't realize that. I just thought it sounded like one.
No, no, no. It is an actual law firm. Yeah.
Right. Topdoglaw.com. Jacoby Myers.
That's a new sponsorship right there, guys. That's a new
Right.
sponsorship. Check them out.
Now I had a name. I had Jennings here because I think the Jennings opportunity is too good in San Francisco, depending on what is going on with Ayuk and Pearsall and stuff. It's just too good. I don't know if you agree with that. I know. Let's put ice bath situation away. Right now, as it is, if Jennings is going to get paid whatever contract he's going to get paid, do you have Jennings as a value in the draft?
Yeah, I mean, because he's going to have a role, his snap percentage is going to go higher than it was 2 years ago. It's going to be pretty consistent to what it was last year, but I do think that there's a lot of if Christian McCaffrey's healthy, as we perceive him being healthy, he's going to take a lot of snaps away from, a lot of touches away from some of these wide receivers, which also opens the door to one-on-one coverage, broken coverage, so on and so forth with Christian McCaffrey. Um, so yeah, I mean, I could see him being a value. I can put Jennings in this category, because these are players that were like, all right, well, they're not wide receiver twos, they're possibly wide receiver threes. So yeah, I mean, I can agree with it, but I do think that if we're putting Jennings here, we got to put the other guy in there,
And who?
Mr. Hamstring Pearsall.
I disagree with you. I disagree completely because it's just
It's one or the other. It's one or the other that's going to get the receptions. That's going to supersede one or the other.
all right. I'll here's what I'll say about that. If you, as a person drafting, if you're calling your shot, let's pretend Pearsall is healthy by the start of the year. All right. If you want to call your shot and say, I genuinely think Pearsall is going to do better than Jennings, then to your point, that's exactly where he belongs. Okay. Um, but I'm not. Do you feel that way? If Pearsall is healthy by the start of the year, you think Pearsall, and you already made an ice bath on it, you think Pearsall outperforms Jennings and everybody else.
Yes.
That's your call.
Yes.
Okay. But you would, okay, fine, fine. Then you just think it's just a repressed passing offense in general in San Francisco, though? Like how high,
I think it's
from a,
50-50
the
because
reason, yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
they're going to be utilizing the play action a lot more with the talent behind, in the backfield. So that's what brings, obviously I think there's going to obviously, and with what's his name, backup running back, um, in San Francisco. Come on,
Oh,
Mr. G.
Garendo.
Yeah, Mr. G, Garindo. Um, he's shown that he can prosper in the offense as well too, and he will obviously have a not he'll take a step back, but obviously if something happens to Christian McCaffrey, then I think that it puts a void on some of those it might turn to like a 60-40 offense, but I think right now it's a 50-50 because of the fact that you're going to have Christian McCaffrey back there healthy. He's going to take receptions away as well too. But again, Pearsall, I believe, is a far better talented player than Jennings. He's
Okay.
younger. He's younger. He has, he's gonna flourish this year. I'm telling you right now. He reminds me of a better version of Khalil Shakir. And we were oohing and eyeing of Khalil Shakir with his consistency last year.
Right, but remember, he's not, despite what you want to say about Kittle, he's not the Khalil Shakir ended up being quote unquote the number one target on that offense. Pearsall is not the number one target on this offense. It's
We'll
just he
see.
just isn't.
We'll see.
Um, all right, so I think we have to get Waddle in here because at some point it just gets ridiculous. There is upside there if he
Yeah, he'll
continues to look,
waddle his way into the back tier of tier nine.
and then he waddled away. Yeah. So I want to point out that from a total player perspective that we have here, we're up.
And Cup
This is
Cup Cup has to fit in this one too.
I'm okay with that. That's 40 names now, and that's not including what we've got here. Now, real quick, I think if we're not going to rank McLaurin, Rashee Rice, and Jordan Addison, Jerry Jeudy, I think we should definitely rank. I would have had him here, and I know you said you were okay with that, but we have to assume that like Flacco is the quarterback. Otherwise, if it's not, he's like not. If Flacco's the quarterback, I don't know how long he stays the quarterback. So maybe he's one of these things where it's like the first couple weeks, get a couple good games out of Flacco and then trade him away. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe something like that. All right. I want to bring that up because I don't think we should have Debo ranked. I don't. Because the whole McLaurin situation affects Debo so much. You've got Debo really ranked. Think of where you've got him here. You've got him in right below the wide receiver two, like one and two, and then this is like your explosive tier, and then you've got him like right in the next thing. That's where you've got him. That's
Yeah.
his ceiling. if McLaurin doesn't play or is holding out or something.
I think he just holds line right there with McLaurin in there as well too.
No way.
Yes way. Yes way, sir.
Just just don't see it. I just don't see it. I don't know how. I, what makes you think that? We thought he looked slow and out of it. What makes you think that?
Yeah, he was slowing out of it on a team that was losing last year. He's on a winning chemistry team this year. Obviously, the 49ers are a winning chemistry team year in, year out, but it just looked like they just didn't care anymore. They just weren't trying anymore. So, Debo wants to win, and I think that right now, him being on this offense with this team, it's putting him back in the same situation that he was 2 or 3 years ago on the 49ers. He's in a tough division. The NFC East right now is becoming a even tougher division. A lot of competitiveness now with obviously Washington. Basically the Eagles. The Cowboys offense is on the upward trend. The Giants are flip a coin, whatever Giants are gonna show up this year, but their defense is looking stout to compete with what's going on in the division offensively. Um, I think that Debo's a competitor. And he goes against. I mean, yeah, he does follow social media. He goes against everybody. He wraths against people that basically talk bad about him. He's at practice. He's building chemistry,
That's such a big
and
thing now.
he is looking good. Now he has to hold it up through practice to show that he has the stamina to do so, because he is aging. But again, I do think based on the type of play that he plays, and keeping up with like a Xavier Legette and stuff like that, in the off season and training with him, I think that he is a value and can have a tremendous, tremendous year, even with McLaurin on the field.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. I
You
just
don't
think
have to agree. That's what this is all
I know.
about.
I
But
know.
I
I
will
know. I know.
articulate my reasons behind it and why I will be planning to draft Debo late in drafts and to value
Well,
him in the position where he's at.
well, again, the position where he's at, we're kind of placing him here. Forget my thoughts on it. Let's just take your thoughts on it. If McLaurin gets signed, obviously we've got him up here in the top 20. Okay.
Mhm.
This is where Debo is still, even if McLaurin is in the top 20,
Yeah.
right? That's what you're saying?
Yep.
Okay. If McLaurin is not signed by the start of the season, how high does Debo go for you?
For me,
Yeah.
he'll probably be in tier six.
You've got him borderline wide receiver. You've got him wide receiver two, low end wide receiver two, borderline 2, 3.
Yep.
That's how high he jumps. Okay.
Yep.
That's I think I agree with that. I think he's right about. I would want to have him like if he wasn't signed, if McLaurin wasn't signed, but I don't want anything to do with him, anything. Because you got to remember though, Daniels really spreads the ball around to everybody not named McLaurin. Like everybody was like Ertz was getting a whole lot of stuff. Then you got the backup tight end
Yeah.
who might take over. You've got the whole Zacchaeus situation now.
Yeah.
Um,
But when Daniels finds a player that he knows is going to produce, he finds that player and he produces with him.
all right. Well, it could be noted that we have a disagreement on this. We don't have to be perfect, but that's about it. A couple other guys I wanted to get a question. I wanted you to answer a question. So we're never going to agree on Debo. We're never going to agree on Hunter. Depending on, I mean, there's guys that I'm higher on than you are that I don't think we're going to end up agreeing. Like Garrett Wilson. Once just we get figure out the Justin Fields situation, I have a feeling we're not going to necessarily agree on that. But a lot of the guys we do. We both see Godwin as a real value. We see Shakir as a real value. We feel good about that. Guys that we're lower on than consensus is JSN. I mean, obviously Evans. I mean, the two of them just come right to mind. And
Yep.
I guess Waddle. I wanted to ask you about Cooper Cup. I think the range of outcomes here is really big. I think
It just
Cup.
depends. It just depends on what Darnold shows up.
And why would we think anything other than a s- his ceiling is going to be mediocre without Kevin O'Connell. So
Oh,
even and this is Cup another year older, injury risks on top of maybe he loses his step,
but he's not. He may not be utilized the same way that he was utilized in
maybe.
L.A. Being basically Puka Nacua took over that role, right?
Sure.
And he just and they were still utilizing him in that sense, but as basically taking these big hits and whatnot. But I really see Cup Cohen out there being a slot player, getting Wes Welkery kind of thing in a sense. Not saying he's Wes Welker, right? But I will say, like, based on positional and how they're going to utilize him, I think the smartest approach is not putting him on the out, keeping him inside, being that first down guy in a full point PPR. He could have a tremendous value by getting anywhere from 5 to 7 targets a game, catching pretty much 80% of his balls, getting again, he's not going to get. He might have your 100-yard game here and there, 2, 3 times this year. He's not going to surpass 1,000 yards, but he could have these really big plays where he's getting these football plays that turn into touchdowns, and he could be healthier through the season playing that way than he would be playing on the Rams.
We should point out, just from a numbers perspective, so we were caring a lot about the top 24 because you're definitely starting those guys. But generally speaking, wide receivers in the top 36, especially more and more common that teams are having an additional flex or another wide receiver slot. It's why, and also generally speaking, you're having a wide receiver in your flex spot, even if you have a single flex anyway. So really the top 36 is like an interesting place to be for these kind of wide receivers, and we're getting to that point basically right around like this area in here. So keep in mind where like these guys are going to be very, very relevant for your team. So it's important that you take these shots accordingly as to
Yeah.
what you're looking for. By the way, I had a name here on mine that I kind of had here, but now I want to basically put him in. Let's wait to rank him. So if Diggs doesn't start the season because of his situation, then then he's basically off the board. But
Yeah.
he's going to be a target machine.
Yeah,
Um,
no, I can agree that he could be in this tier nine. To be honest, based obviously based on him starting the season, or his if he there's a suspension or something like that, whatever it is, because the obviously the Patriots play no games, but they're not going to let a talent like him go, I believe. I think he still has value. He still is going to have a tremendous opportunity in that offense to flourish. Um, and I think it could be mitigated what's going on off field.
One other name that I probably would have, probably in this tier here, is I had Josh Downs. I think that despite
Well,
whatever, despite whatever
Downs, Downs, Pierce,
I think it's
Pittman.
Downs. I think Downs is the clear number one there. I think that at this point now he's the clear number one.
Yeah,
The quarterback situation is not the best in the world, although Downs had some pretty good success even with Richardson. And despite what we think about Daniel Jones, he does throw the ball better than Richardson, even if it's marginally. So I would venture so far as to say Downs there. There's a lot
yeah,
of other names that we're not bringing up because some of maybe the shots don't have as high a ceiling. There's some other like rookie kind of guys.
yeah. So, I mean, I agree. I mean, I think I honestly, I do think that this list is a good starting point for us
Sure.
to project, obviously where we're at when it comes down to tiers.
All right.
I mean, I do believe that there's maybe one or two players that I could point out. I can't tier them right now in this category,
Yeah, yeah.
but I do think that they'll have a really good year. And they'll be great, free agent plays or end of the draft pickups and stuff like that for, wide receiver 4 or 5 that you're going to put on your roster. Not sure how you feel about this list. If there's anybody else that you really feel that needs to fit in this list as of right now. But I think that there are at least one or two late round shots that I would target
Sure.
late in late in
Throw some
drafts.
names.
Um, so the first one that I really really like, that I would feel comfortable. putting him as my wide receiver 4 or 5, depending on how you're drafting,
Yeah.
would be Wan'Dale Robinson. And don't tell me, Homer Giants, whatever it is. Doesn't matter what it was. He had a really good year last year. There was points in the year where he was getting targets upon targets. I think he was number one in targets for 3 or 4 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. Um, but and he was, I mean, he basically was seeing the lowest amount of targets he saw was two, but he went 2 for 2 for 6. Again, that's not great. But the entire season after that, basically he was, 9, 10, 14, 12, 11 targets, 11 targets, 12, 11, 6. So a player like that where he finished wide receiver 37. I think he's a great late round flyer, especially how this offense is going to play. Having two good running backs, rookie running back, and then obviously Tracy. So you got Cam Scabuto and also what you call it, Tracy in the backfield. And then if they're starting the season, which it's looking that way with Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson does like these little underthrows as well too. He does love to gun it and sling it. But I do think a value pick would be Wan'Dale Robinson late in rounds, and he could
Yeah,
really be
super
a
late.
dependable player to have on your roster. Um,
I wasn't gonna slam you for the homer thing. Yeah, these are just late round shots. I
yeah,
mean, that it's not gonna cost you much. There's some upside there.
yeah,
I don't I don't see it exactly the way that you do, but I'm not like these are just late shots. Like this is just kind of what you think. Any other names? Because I have a
yeah.
few names here.
Yeah, one more, and I'm probably going to steal this one from you.
Sure, you might.
And it is Jalen McMillian. Um, I do think, and you'll obviously jump on this one too. But I think that he's shown that he could be a valuable role when players go down.
Yes.
I'm not jumping on the Ohio State train yet. I go based on chemistry and consistency. And obviously, Evans is going to get his receptions. He's not a high value guy for us right now. We do value basically Chris Godwin over that player of Mike Evans. I think we believe that he's going to have a downward tick. He also is injury prone. Um,
Especially as the season goes on. Like, oh,
yeah. So
yeah, go ahead.
Jalen McMillan is going to have a viable role in this offense. He's going to continue to have a viable role. And, towards the end of the year, he pretty much was wide receiver one numbers
Right.
for rosters. And I think that he's going to continue that. He's not going to be consistent, but he will be a great value as your 4 or 5 wide receiver. Hold on to him for the year. Obviously, if he gets injured, that's one thing, but he's a great late round shot to win you a championship.
Yeah, I agree. I was less than enthused when obviously Tampa Bay drafted Ekubuka, if I'm pronouncing his name right. But
Yeah.
the more I think about it, like Jalen was just too talented. So, but again, like we're feeling good about Godwin. Like it for Jalen to get more relevant in the offense, we'll kind of see how it shapes up. Maybe Evans, like we're predicting, kind of takes a down tick as the year goes on. So we'll wait and see that. I got a couple names I want to bring up here. So let's talk. I'll bring up Hollywood. So considering where he's going in drafts, and we're not exactly sure what's happening with Rice to some degree, but Hollywood, I mean, he's being left for dead on the team with, even though like it just was not pretty, he's still the best quarterback in the league. It's Andy Reid. I mean, we'll wait and see what happens. These are just interesting shots to take a shot at the end of the draft. Another name to make Tommy happy, Rashad Bateman. So
Richard Batman.
Batman himself. So again, we're not going to predict Lamar Jackson to throw another 41 touchdowns. That would be wrong. But again, it's a great offense. Lamar Jackson's a great quarterback. They're going to throw it. And they're going to throw it efficiently when they do throw it. It's not going to be, again, Rashad Bateman is one of these guys. He could get you 180 yards and 2 touchdowns or literally nothing. Not the best, but again, these are late round shots. And I'll bring up just one more name. So, um, well, I could bring up a kind of a couple names, and it goes back into the Adunze thing, and I want to get your opinion here. So, I could bring up a lot of these kind of highly touted rookie wide receivers.
I mean, dude, we
Other
could talk all day about late round shots. There's so many late
I,
round shots
I
out
know,
there.
but I want to. I just wanted to bring up the concept so we could talk more about Adunze. So, um, we could talk about rookie wide receivers that are touted, and I'm talking about any rookie receivers that we not named Tet McMillan and Hunter, because the rest of them are in a bit more amorphous situation. So let me bring up a few of them. Luther Burden, he was the guy that was drafted, very highly drafted for Chicago. That's why we'll bring up the Adunze thing. And I could bring up Trey Harris, the guy that was drafted for the Chargers. Um, Obviously, Ladidi Metcalfe, he's the top dog there. But is Trey Harris going to have any sort of a value given that Quentin Johnston drops
Or is
everything that's
Quentin
thrown his
can't
way?
catch Johnson
I know.
going to prevail this year?
Well,
This
let's
is
bring. I know, and I don't want to waste time. Like we could bring up any number of these guys for late round shots, but let's just to mention the Luther Burden thing. That's my issue with the Dunze. So I agree with everything you're saying about what you mentioned about the Bears offense. Remember, you and I had conversations about like we hope the pendulum hasn't swung too
yeah.
far. We think Caleb Williams is going to do better. We think the offense is going to be better. Better O line, Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams improving. That's why we feel pretty good about DJ Moore.
So
But we don't want the pendulum to swing so far where we're starting to just blow things out of proportion. He's
so
still the clear number two with a number one wide receiver that they drafted right behind him. Go ahead. Sorry.
So I think if we're talking about those two teams, I think based on Mike Williams' retirement, and it might not say much, you might laugh about it, whatever it is, but Mike Williams was going to play. I think that Trey Harris has a better position to supersede the number two role and to be a value in that offense because they are going to throw the ball more this year. They are definitely going to throw the ball. They're going to utilize a play action. You know, Harbaugh loves to run the ball. They're going to start the season running the ball, and they're going to be gunning towards the end of the year. He loves his quarterback. So I think Trey Harris has more of a value based on the quarterback play and what you have in front of you with Herbert than you do with Williams. I think I categorize Williams and Herbert close, but Herbert is higher in value. Um, so based on that perspective, with more of a clear-cut system, Trey Harris takes that over. I just don't see I just don't see the basically the Bears really having three primary wide receivers. I think Aduze maintains that role. He's. I understand that they drafted him, high, but they also drafted Oduze high. I think it is a great talent for him to really just take on to the next level. Um, so I can agree with you in some sense, but I'm
Sure.
disagreeing with you hard because I do think based on the system and what they have in front of them with the chemistry of that offense, I think that Trey Harris has a better opportunity to be a boom late round flyer.
Okay. I, I'm not inclined to fight you that hard over it. I mean, we're talking kind of like in the later round era, so it's less of
Yeah.
it's less of an impact at that point. So you just at that point you can just kind of call your shot, and we kind of have them in like the same sort of area at the end.
Yeah.
But there you go. So that's our wide receiver tiers for right now. You know, we'll revisit this as we get very close to the start of the season. But it's a great starting jumping off point for us. Like we said, and then at some point we'll actually get to ranking a few of these guys that we left off because of the literally we don't know what to say about it. So we'll get to that too. Are you just the guys that we went through? You know what I mean? I know we're in agreement on some of these guys that are lower and higher and stuff. I mean, I wanted to ask you this too, because we'll get into this when we get into draft strategy. Do you find that you end up drafting a lot of the same kind of teams during draft season? Because we just feel good about certain players based on
Yeah. I
where
mean,
ADP is, right?
yeah. I
Like,
mean, the thing is, I mean, yeah, you're gonna draft and you're gonna have teams that basically draft on ADP and whatnot and I mean whatever to Dome whatever you say but but I
but
will
in English,
say
they say.
I will say when you draft the players and you grab players ahead of what their ADP is and you feel so good about those players there's a reason behind that And ADP has a vital role, obviously, in drafts, especially online drafts because they're visually there. But when we do these, when you do drafts and you're going off paper and you have your rankings list and you have your tier list and all that stuff, it is so smart to draft the players that you're so high on, because barring injury, these players are going to have great values and you're going to win your league by drafting the players that are going to be consistent,
that you feel at least. I mean, and because
that
we're and
are going to be
right,
consistent.
and none of us have ever been wrong. So, but
Never been wrong.
no, I think you're going to find Godwin on
That's why there's
a
a
lot of your
waiver wire,
teams.
everybody.
Yeah, I think you're going to find Godwin on a lot of your teams. I think we're going to find Worthy on a lot of my teams, for
I
example.
honestly think that I'm going to get Godwin taken away from me on a lot of teams.
You might. We'll see if we keep talking about it enough.
Yep.
But anyway, there we go. So we'll see you guys with the wide receivers a little bit later on in the offseason. Next week, we've got tight end tiers, and then we've got some cool stuff going forward. We'll talk about strategies, and then we'll revisit some tiers. So, closing thoughts, Mr. Lang?
Yes, if everybody can subscribe, like, ring that bell, get notified when we drop that comment. We truly appreciate everybody that listens and takes the time to comment on all of our platforms. We love our fans and we want to make you guys win.
We do. We appreciate it very much, guys. And we'll see you guys next time. Thank you, guys.